Hey guys, Raw here again. Just making another Tera guide, I guess. Don't really want to call it a guide. It's more of going to be a couple tips for bosses 7, 8, 9 in Dreadspire. It's mostly just going to be the main mechanics that you need to know for these bosses. There's already guides out there for bosses 1 through 6. I just couldn't find anything for 7, 8, 9, so I figured I'd go ahead and make this help people out real quick. Now, I'm sure most, if not all of us, have already seen all 3 of these bosses before. 2 of them are from VSHM and 1 of them's from FIHM. So, I mean, I'm not going to explain every single one of their basic attacks and everything like that unless I feel a need to explain it specifically. But we'll go ahead and start off with Lacan here, boss number 7. The main thing for him is going to be his mark mechanic. It did slightly change. So not only is there the order, which I'm going to put up the cheat sheet for the order here too, but also right before the spread gather debuff activates, he's going to do the lasers that he did in VSHM. Whenever the tank lost aggro or got too far away from the boss, he's going to shoot those out. He's going to shoot them in a certain pattern each time as well. If you're not inside a soul world, directly behind the boss is going to be completely safe for the first laser, and directly in front of the boss is not going to be safe for the first laser. So if you're behind the boss, you're going to stay in the middle, wait for him to shoot the first laser, then stand to the side. Then you're going to do the spread gather debuff. If you're in front of the boss, you're going to stand to the side. Then after he shoots the first laser, go to the middle, and then do spread gather debuff. If he's inside of Soul World, it's going to be the complete opposite. I did go ahead and make these little pictures here to help illustrate it for you. I hope you appreciate my artwork. The next difference is going to be to his shield slam. Originally in VSHM, he would slam the ground, and then there'd be a wave that pulsated outwards, one line at a time, kind of like in RMHM or AHM, anything like that. You can't iframe the waves. You have to just, move out of them. But in this version, there's a wave that goes out and a wave that comes in at the same time. So the way that you're going to dodge this one is you just take a step back, let his shield hit the ground, immediately go in after it hits the ground, and then count 3 more waves. So 1, 2, 3, and then dodge out. Simple as that. Very easy to do. And then the last difference on this boss is just going to be that his Be Gone, whenever he does it, it will go ahead and do damage both on the inside and the outside. So if he does the spin and it's red, you're going to want to be in and then out. And then if he does the spin and it's purple, you want to be out and then in. Next, we have the chair. In FIHM, you didn't need to know the mechanics in order to clear this stupid boss. But in here, you need to know the mechanics or you're going to wipe. It's an annoying boss. It's not fun. Whatever. Here are all of the mechanics for this boss because you need to know them all. It's a lot to kind of keep track of, but realistically it's not that difficult. It's just tedious. So when this boss starts, he's going to show you one of the attacks that it's one of the only attacks that he does periodically throughout the fight. The skulls on the corners of the chair are going to fly up in the air, and he's just going to do 2 lightning bursts down on the ground around the boss. DPS tank, just get out, don't take damage from him. It's a lot of damage and it's hard for the healer to heal it. The next mechanic is the doom mechanic. He's going to say your doom approaches or something. And every time that he says that, he's going to spawn 2 orbs that are going to come out from on top of him. The orbs are going to fly towards the statues that are sitting around the room. There's 4 statues on each wall around the room. If the orbs hit the statue, they do a big AoE of damage that does, like 40-45% damage to everyone in the room. It hurts a lot, so what you want to do is you run over, hit the statue before the orbs get there. You don't want to break it too early because the statue respawns and the orbs will go ahead and hit it anyways. So you break the statue, and once you break the statue, it makes a lane spawn that's going to fill up all the way and do damage. It one-shots. So just get out of it. So essentially you want to make sure that you're watching where the orbs are going and you don't get hit by that. Under 50% health, he's going to start spawning 2 sets of orbs instead of a single set. So you're going to have 2 people going to 2 different statues to break them. Unless they go to the same statue, then it's fine. His next mechanic, he just says, I will wipe you out. Spawns a red circle over everybody in the group, and then shoots down some lightning on you. I believe it one-shots as well. Just make sure you get out of it. And the only other 2 mechanics he has is that he spawns 2 mobs. He summons this big guy called Rokdos. The two closest people to this mob will take a curse. The curse works exactly the same as RMHM curse or anything like that, or like the debuff on Lacan, to where, I mean, you don't take damage over time from it, but if you double stack the curse on yourself, then you'll die from it. So just make sure if you don't have the curse, you get a little bit closer than people that do have it to him. Right before the curse goes out, the mob will say, "Who hungers for my curse?" and then it'll immediately go out. I think it does a little bit of damage too when it hits you as well. The last mechanic that he does, it's also one of the more important ones, is he's going to spawn this guy called Vior. Every time that Vior spawns, he's going to put yellow circles over everybody in the group. They're pretty big. You can iframe them. They do damage and they silence you, but it can be cleansed as well. But you do want to make sure that you go ahead and iframe that. And then after he's done doing those damage circles, he's going to walk to one of the lines of statues, and he's going to run down the line and tackle every statue down the line. When he tackles them, obviously they're going to shoot the beam out that will one-shot you. He does vary in like how he runs through them. So sometimes he'll run through 2 of them and then stop, and then run through 2 more. Sometimes he'll run through 1 and then stop, and then run through 2 and then stop and then run through 1. But basically, I got another drawing here for you that's pretty beautiful, if I do say so myself. If he's running vertically, the front wall and the back wall are completely safe because there's no statues that far forward or that far back on the wall. And if he's running horizontally, the left and the right wall are going to be safe, so you could just stand there as well. This boss does seem to be pretty hard for people, but really once you understand the mechanics, it's pretty simple overall. It's just a fair amount of things to keep track of. Now we got Big Daddy Darkhand himself. I think that all his basic attacks are important for the entire group, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you them. There's only 3 of them, not very complicated. He does share similarities with himself from VSHM as well as from Sky Cruiser. So if you've done both of those dungeons, you'll be fairly familiar with a fair amount of his mechanics. First, I'll explain his basic attacks. Pretty much if he starts a basic attack combo with his right hand, all he's going to do is right hand, left hand, and then a back swipe. If he starts a combo with his left hand, he's going to do 4 swings. Left, right, left, and then the next one is going to be a swing, stick his hand in the ground, and do a swipe. As you should already know, his swipe is going to be that from whichever hand is not stuck in the ground. So if he sticks his right hand into the ground, he's going to swipe left. If he sticks his left hand in the ground, he's going to swipe right. His last basic attack combo is just going to be a front smash into another front smash, and then that means that he's going to do 2 back slashes. All of the back slashes are going to apply the fire debuff onto the DPS or anybody that's in the way of it. And it hits pretty hard, so you want to make sure you try to get out of it so that your healer's not, super stretched on healing. None of the swipes on this boss can be iframed, so you need to move out of all of them. The most important thing on this boss is dodging the swipes. The reason being is that he's going to spawn a bunch of ghosts around the edges of the room. If you get swiped and you get swiped into a ghost, it's going to spawn a ghost that's going to follow you around. The ghosts can be killed, and you need to kill them immediately. You can also stun them. The ghost can hit you for about 180, 160k damage every single basic attack, and they hit through block as well, but you can iframe their attacks as well. He's also going to say, "Let me remind you of the nightmare of minions," and he'll do a big leap backwards and spawn a ghost in front of themselves. You can drop a hunter trap there, or a sork trap, or backstab them, or whatever you need to do just to stun them and immediately kill them. It's very imperative that you kill the ghost as fast as possible. If you start getting overrun with ghosts, there's no way that you're going to clear the boss. He also does a big leap into the air, and he'll spawn a giant red circle under him. Just move out of it. I think it one-shots. I don't know, though. I've never been hit by it, and I'm pretty sure you can't iframe it, but not 100% sure, to be honest with you. He also does another jump where he'll put his swords away first and jump in the air, and then he's going to drop circles on top of everybody in the group that's going to leave like a pit of fire there for a duration of time. So you're going to want to either spread out or all stacked together away from the middle of the room and drop all the fireballs down. There's also a healer aggro mechanic. He's going to throw his swords, and then all these like fire slashes are going to come out. Hits really, really hard, so make sure that you iframe that. It also applies the fire debuff to you that burns you over time, and the fire hits pretty hard. Basically, all of his attacks apply that debuff onto you. He also has a secondary aggro mechanic where you'll get a purple soaker onto you, and then he'll turn towards you and do a smash attack similar to the one from his basic attack. It hits pretty hard, but it's not a huge deal if you do get hit by it, but just try to iframe it. With that mechanic, under 50% health, whoever he turns towards and hits, after he hits them, whichever hand he hit the ground with, the other hand is going to do a swipe and swipe you out towards the ghost or whatever if you get hit by it. So make sure that you're standing on the proper side under 50% health when he does that mechanic, and try not to spin him around for your group. In this version, he does also do his purple silence shout as well. It does silence you still, and in this one, it also spawns a ghost for every single person that gets hit by it as well, so you got to just make sure that you iframe that. The mechanics that most people are going to probably have trouble with is the secondary aggro under 50% health, and also his final mechanic, which is the I will tear you apart mechanic, where he's going to target one of the ghosts that are on the walls around the room randomly, and he's going to say I, and he's going to stick his hand in the ground and do a swipe in the opposite direction. And then he's going to target another random one and say will, and stick his hand in the ground, swipe in opposite direction. And then he'll say tear you apart and do the same thing. If he's enraged at the time that he does the last swing, he's going to do a double swipe on both sides. So basically what you're going to do is get as close to him as possible so that you can just walk around him, very quickly. To get to each side that you need to be on every time that he swings. And that's basically every boss. The majority of the bosses in the dungeon up until this point are pretty tank and spank, besides maybe number 3. But I think you guys do it just fine. Practice makes perfect. Don't get discouraged your first time failing. Good luck.